Book title: Madusa's Minds, Reflections of Ego version 1.0. Author: J.R. Wert. Chapter 20. Self-Serving Saints. Philanthropic Facades and the Dual Motives Behind Altruistic Acts. The complex interplay between philanthropy, ego, and public perception unfolds daily as individuals partake in actions that may seem altruistic on the surface but often conceal ulterior motives. This complexity is brought to light through various examples, exposing the conflicting forces that drive human behavior and the potential repercussions of ego-driven decisions on societal efforts to address challenges. Imagine an individual who amasses wealth through exploitative business practices, paying minimal wages, and dodging legal fees and taxes. This person might donate a seemingly insignificant 1% of their earnings to a non-profit organization, amounting to $100 million. To the outside observer, this donation appears incredibly generous, often eliciting reactions such as, "Oh wow, they donated so much money. They're amazing." The philanthropist may then publicize their donation, feeding their ego and enhancing their public image. In reality, their rationale may be strategic financial management rather than genuine concern for others' welfare. This scenario underscores the duplicity inherent in some acts of philanthropy, where actions serving dual purposes, public image enhancement and ego satisfaction, may be misconstrued as altruism. The issue is compounded by social media, as individuals share videos of themselves aiding the homeless, seeking likes and recognition rather than effecting meaningful change. Such actions amount to a facade of goodness, potentially influencing others to mimic insincere behaviors. A similar disconnect between public persona and private actions is observed in the environmental sphere. Individuals may adopt environmentally friendly practices such as a vegan diet or recycling, not out of genuine concern for the planet or animals, but because these actions are currently fashionable. For instance, someone might identify as vegan and diligently recycle, yet drive a gasoline-powered car with a turbocharger, disregarding the environmental impact of their emissions. This behavior reflects a superficial commitment to environmental causes, driven by a desire to be perceived as trendy or socially responsible rather than a sincere desire to make a positive difference. Such individuals may post pictures of their plant-based meals or share tips on recycling on social media, seeking validation and praise from their online community. However, their decision to drive a gas-guzzling car, despite being aware of the environmental repercussions, reveals a disconnect between their public persona and their private actions, where ultimately their choices are dictated by ego and a desire to maintain a certain image rather than a genuine commitment to environmental sustainability, which then raises questions about the authenticity of their actions and the broader impact of ego-driven decision-making to address environmental challenges. Another example of this disconnect is seen, for instance, in a person who works as a fire performer, as they release toxic fumes into the air, exposing both themselves and others to environmental harm. Despite being aware of the environmental and health impact of their profession, they may justify their choice by pointing to their other environmentally friendly practices, or by downplaying the harm caused by their actions. This cognitive dissonance reveals a deeper conflict between their public persona and private actions, and raises questions about the authenticity of their commitment to environmental sustainability. The disconnect between public persona and private actions is also evident in the culture of certain events and festivals. For example, Burning Man, an annual event held in the Nevada desert, claims to adhere to a leave no traces ethos, yet in reality, it has a significant environmental footprint. The event involves the burning of large structures, the use of gasoline for transportation and generators, and propane for fire performances, all of which contribute to pollution and environmental degradation. Additionally, the culture of the event, with its emphasis on costumes, decorations, and jewelry, is rooted in ego consciousness and a desire for self-expression rather than a genuine commitment to environmental sustainability. The use of drugs and participation in sexual activities at the event further underscore the hedonistic nature of the festival, which contrasts starkly with its supposed spiritual and environmental values. This example highlights the broader issue of superficial commitments to environmental causes that are driven more by a desire for social validation and self-expression than by a genuine desire to make a positive difference. The phenomenon is further illustrated by beach cleanup events organized primarily for praise and validation rather than genuine environmental concern. Individuals might arrange a beach cleanup event, inviting superficial friends to join, but does this act genuinely stem from a concern for the environment? There are, after all, individuals employed by the government whose job it is to clean up the beach. This situation bears a resemblance to a recent TikTok video featuring two girls in Bali who filmed themselves cleaning up a beach, seemingly more for views and likes than out of genuine concern for the environment. Such decisions are ultimately rooted in one's ego. Similarly, a person might organize a beach trash cleanup day, inviting their friends primarily to receive praise and validation for being a good person, a facade maintained by their ego to mask its influence over their actions. While they may appear outwardly altruistic, their motivations remain anchored in self-interest. This disconnect between outward appearance and internal motivation raises important questions about the true nature of one's actions and the role of ego in shaping our decisions. The multifaceted interplay between ego, public perception, and seemingly altruistic actions unveils numerous circumstances where altruism may take a backseat to self-serving motives. This extends far beyond the realms of philanthropy and environmentalism to infiltrate other spheres of our social engagements. Volunteering for visibility is one such aspect that captures this dynamic vividly. There exists a tendency for individuals to offer their services at high-profile events or organizations, not primarily out of an intrinsic motivation to contribute positively, but to build social capital and forge a positive public image. This is a landscape where the altruistic potential of volunteering converges with the ego-driven desire for recognition, forming a grey area in the understanding of genuine contribution. Likewise, public displays of generosity can sometimes be less about heartfelt kindness and more about crafting a persona. It is not uncommon to witness individuals picking up the tab at group dinners or showering others with extravagant gifts, driven more by a desire to assert an image of generosity and financial success than an authentic act of kindness. This is a scenario where the line between generosity and ego blurs, leading to actions guided more by personal gratification than by the unselfish concern for others. The phenomenon of selective advocacy further explores this interplay. Here, the public advocacy for popular social issues sometimes springs not from a deep-seated commitment to the cause, but from a more superficial desire to project a certain image in the public eye. It showcases a scenario where the depth of one's commitment to advocacy is potentially compromised by the overarching desire to maintain a particular public persona. In addition to these, there exists the scenario of oversharing good deeds where individuals, propelled by a partial ego drive to share details of their benevolent acts, such as helping a neighbour or donating to charity in public forums. This act, albeit positive, carries the undercurrent of seeking validation, projecting the complex nature of human motivation where ego often shares space with genuine intention. In light of these observations, the imperative for self-reflection and authenticity in our actions stands tall. It calls for a personal endeavour to sift through the layers of external validation to reach a place of genuine contribution, while the natural inclination might be to seek acknowledgement and recognition. Navigating this complex landscape necessitates a heightened mindfulness of the role the ego plays in our decisions. This journey of self-awareness urges individuals to align their actions more steadfastly with their authentic values, rather than being swayed by the continuous pursuit to support ego and maintain a captivating public image. It beckons a commitment to authenticity, inviting a deeper introspection of our motivations and a striving towards a path that honours not just the outward appearance of goodness, but its sincere, unadulterated pursuit. The interplay between philanthropy, ego, and public perception reveals the multifaceted nature of human behaviour and decision-making. Acts that appear outwardly positive may be driven by ulterior motives, raising questions about the authenticity of our actions and the broader impact on societal efforts to address challenges. Ultimately, it is important to reflect on our motivations, be mindful of the role of ego in our decisions, and strive for authenticity in our actions.